there, welcome back for another video. Decided to go ahead and talk about sim rig setups today. Thought this would be a good idea to make a video because when I first started off, there wasn't a lot of information or opinions out there from kind of average guys like myself who, I'm not on any professional team or anything like that, but I take this seriously because I enjoy it. So I have a limited budget when it comes to this. So if that fits you as well, let's go ahead and talk about where do you really need to put your money into these things, and what are the most important things to consider when maybe setting it up or buying a new one for yourself. The number one thing that I want to talk about when it comes to your sim rig, no matter what anyone may tell you, the most important thing is you need to be comfortable, right? Everything needs to be in a place that makes sense, where you can reach it. You can't see over here, but you got my handbrake, my shifter. My seat is exactly where I want it to be. My legs are not at a crazy angle getting to the pedals. This is very natural for me in the driving position I prefer. It helps if you can, have any kind of adjustment, but of course not required. It's your own personal preference, but whatever your preference is, make sure it's met. Because if you're not comfortable, then you're going to be thinking about, man, like this is like a weird steering angle, or the seat isn't the best. It's going to distract you and you're going to lose time. Or maybe you won't be able to drift quite as well as you're hoping, whatever it may be. So comfort is the number one thing, and that all comes down to preference. There's all kinds of great manufacturers out there. A good one to check out would be Icon Sim Sports. They make some fantastic rigs, and we'll drop a link down in the description below. Some things I would consider when looking to buy a racing wheel, whether you're going to race it, drift it, whatever. Look at your budget, right? Because if you don't have a high budget, then you need to just kind of look and see what's available, because things scale very quickly in the simulation world, especially now, post-COVID. There's a lot of new manufacturers out there and they're making all kinds of quality stuff, but some of it comes at a real premium. I would say for all of the higher end equipment that I've used, everything's worth every dollar that they ask for, but it's a matter of what are you willing to put into it. So with that in mind, there's a couple different methods of force feedback, and that's the biggest thing, right? So Logitech, they're gear driven. It's very clicky. I started off on Logitech and it was great. I had no complaints until I drove on Thrustmaster, which was a belt-driven wheel. I thought that was great until I drove on Fanatec, and I drove the belt-driven variation there, but I mean, everything just scales up with the force. So it all comes down to your budget and your preference. But if you're going for the best bang for your buck and you want some longevity, I would absolutely recommend going with a belt-driven style wheel. That feedback just kind of tends to feel a little bit more realistic to me, less clicky and like clanky. And Logitech owners, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I would go for something belt-driven, and if you can spring for direct drive, I mean, you'll never be upset there. So next up, we're going to talk about the pedals here, and pedals are really where you want to put your money, if you can only put your money in one place, because a lot of the pedals out there on the market, they aren't going to give you a very realistic brake feel, and that is the biggest deficit as far as pedal feel in sim racing, sim drifting, whatever. You don't have that hydraulic kind of brake feel, and then therefore the G's that come with the braking. So you want to look for a good load cell pedal, and this helps a lot because if you get like a Logitech pedal, it's spring based and it reads the position of the brake pedal, and it's harder for your mind to remember brake pedal position as opposed to brake pedal force, because that's how a car is set up normally. You use the braking force, not necessarily the pedal position. So it's more natural. So I would absolutely recommend going with something load cell. I have the Fanatec Club Sport V3 pedals, and I've had them for just under a year now, and they've been fantastic. They have a great feel to them. I do have the damper upgrade kit for the brake pedal only, and then I also have the inserts. Something I kind of found out once I ordered everything, you don't need both of those brake performance parts. I would say pick one or the other. The hydraulic arm is probably a more realistic addition to the pedal, and it helps kind of make it feel that much more realistic. But the inserts are a good budget option if you want to do that. They don't really advertise the fact that you don't need both on the site, so I ended up getting both, and I had some trial and error and ended up kind of running the softest inserts I could. So I would say go with one or the other, but either way, get some load cell pedals. That's the best bang for your buck, and it'll feel like a real brake pedal. So the last thing I'll talk about is the Cockpit itself. This is an Obutto Ozone. I got this definitely in like 2013 or so. It's pretty good. It served me well. It doesn't really have a lot of room to add on, so that's something I would consider when looking for a rig for yourself. Does it have things, or does it have places where you can mount attachments to? Does it have good stability if you did attach a lot of things to it? Is it actually even strong enough if you upgrade all these things? For example, I've had to make some custom modifications to this rig just to make my Club Sport pedals happy, because they literally lift up the base plate that they're bolted to. So that being said, I'm not honestly sure how well this would hold up to a direct drive wheel either, because sometimes when I'm really sawing at the wheel, I see this whole kind of rig shake. So I'm thinking with a direct drive wheel, the force feedback there might be a little much. All right, bonus item. I want to talk about transducers. These things are so cool. I have one on each corner of the sim rig. You can see it down through there, and then down through there as well. I have these two set up on one dual channel amp, and then the rear set up as you see, and then these are run to my sound card, and then I have an application on my computer, Sim Experience, that handles all of the inputs from Assetto Corsa, iRacing, a few other games. And what this does is, you can set it up to do whatever, but it actually will give you feedback from the car. So if you're going over a rumble strip, if you're locking up the rear tires and transitioning through a turn, you feel it all in each corner. It's a fantastic addition. I thought it might be a little gimmicky when I did it, but I couldn't be more pleased with the results. So I'm gonna post a link to all of the components that I use to create this down in the description. So definitely click those. We actually make a little bit of money off of those. Those are our affiliate links. So if you would actually buy from those, we'd really appreciate it. This will help us grow the channel and keep making great content for you. So definitely leave a comment and let us know what you think. We're all about sharing information here, because in the end, there's not a ton of us who do this, and the more the merrier. So let's build some awesome sim rigs and go out there and shut up and drive it.